Get ready to supercharge your
Okay. Hello, everyone. I am just checking my feeds here. This is the first actual multi-stream one, so just going in here. Okay. Facebook seems to be working. And let me restart the Twitch stream because that was not working. Okay, I'm just gonna start. Time is now 8:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, or 12:30 a.m. Universal Time Coordinated. This is the first meeting of the Cosmopolitan Party Foundation. There is no old business. And my name is Joseph Cilio. I am the chair, and 100% of voting members are present. Sounds weird to say, since, we're just starting out and the only one, but, it is important. All right. So I'm going to start by giving the officers' reports. I'm going to start with the treasurer. So currently there are $2,055.93 in transactions that I have assembled. I have a couple of domains I need to check because they're not on this list, but it appears the initial incorporation from LegalZoom cost, let's see, control, $1,824.10. There was a HeyGen subscription for 1 month for AI video. That's $29. There was a domain inquiry for a parks domain for $20. There's an IRS application for the 501c4 registration for $50. There was a $100 credit from the founder, that's me, to open the bank account, and so that's in there. And then there was a test purchase from the first purchase at the Cosmopolitan Party and Cosmopolitan Coalition shop for $13.88. That was to test the cycle with Printful. That was successful. Well, I'm scary. One of the items was successful. I have not received this one yet. I'm going to check. There was an in-person transaction which was canceled out and reversed. And then there is a that in-person transaction was $5, but it was reversed, so it's a 0. And then the restream, which is making this thing run, is $19 per month, and that is on there. We have that $19 a month, plus we are going to have a $175 a month, or excuse me, a year, $175 a year, renewed for trademark monitoring, and $230 for will renew annually for the compliance package with LegalZoom. We'll investigate that if it's worth renewing at that before that renewal. We have an attorney on retainer. That's $50 a month currently. But that's only for business advice. So if there's any legal experts here who are interested in joining, please reach out. I'll be going into that after this report. Awesome. So of all the expenses, $2,018.05 was initial startup credit from the founder. That's me, and that was including the previous thing I mentioned. And then $37.88 was with the debit card from Cosmopolitan Party. We have received one dues paying member. That's me. Net dues paying members for party members is $5 a month. Though, as a reminder to anyone who has not read up on us, the coalition membership is free. This is only for party members. But anyway, one membership. The net proceeds from a $5 a month is $4.37 after Stripe fees. We also received a collective $22.61 from our provider on the merchandise shop for a grand total income of $26.90. Excuse me, a grand total net income of $26.98. As of this check, the current balance in the bank is $89.10, and there is no cash on hand. And that concludes the treasurer's report. Okay. So I am going to move on to the secretary's report. That would be me again. So this is, again, the first meeting. This video right here will serve as the record. Additional notes will be taken on any motions. Additionally, the secretary will be responsible for maintaining decorum and order in future meetings. All right. And then we'll go to the chair, which is me. Hello, everyone. My name is Joseph Cilio, and I am the chair of the Cosmopolitan Party Foundation and the Cosmopolitan Coalition Action Fund, which is commonly known as the Cosmopolitan Party and the Cosmopolitan Coalition. What we are is an organization that's trying to basically bring the world together. And I don't mean in a metaphorical sense, like, we just need to be nice to each other, though that is part of it. I believe that we have reached a point as a species where we need to start putting our egos aside which, from me is rich, I know, because I have a big ego. I started a political party, and nonprofit and all that fun stuff. But we need to kind of settle a lot of our differences, and it's a giant problem. And I mean this at a global level. The Cosmopolitan Party takes the core position that the legitimacy of government is derived exclusively from the consent of the governed. That's it. That's where government comes from, right? If I am under a law, I should have, some way or another, some capacity to have a say in how that law is made, executed, and interpreted, right? If I'm living under a system where this is impossible, then my consent is effectively violated. If I'm being locked out of a system where I'm under a government, but I cannot actually change anything about it, that's just people, dictating their will upon mine. That's non-consensual. We do not, that cannot stand. The Cosmopolitan Party and Coalition does not like that. Now, that being said, we understand that there is a lot of complicated situations in the world. I'm not going to go over any specifics here. Geopolitically, economically, historically, culturally, the world is getting smaller and smaller, while at the same time seeming like it's getting bigger and bigger. Our mission will be to become a global reaching organization. We intend to work with all peoples in all governments everywhere, no matter who they are. Doesn't matter what you believe. Doesn't matter where you came from. Doesn't matter what attribute you are. Age, ethnic origin, religion. Doesn't matter. Whatever your characteristic is, it's all level here. As far as we're concerned, any particular country or state or region or any governing entity is a polygon on a map, right? And what matters is that the individuals inside that polygon who are part of it, who are part of that jurisdiction, whatever it is, doesn't matter. I don't know if it's country, state, the world as a whole. The individuals in there are the ones who will decide how they wish to be governed. And at the same time, we all have to work together. And that's what this is all about. So why are there reasons? What are the reasons for us to want to work together? Well, starters, we're stuck with each other. Like, when I say stuck with each other, I mean stuck with each other. There is no getting around it. And it's going to be here forever. Even if, as a species, humanity manages to go into the stars, as far as the people who are on this planet are concerned, or the virtual planet behind me, they're stuck here with each other forever. It never goes away. So we're going to have to come up with a way to make peace eventually anyway. The number of nuclear powers seems to be mostly stable, but it is growing very, very slowly. And the number of countries under nuclear umbrellas is growing. And eventually, that land will run out. Eventually, every square kilometer of land on Earth will become part of a defensive alliance. And those borders will run up to each other. And then we have to ask ourselves, well, then what? What are we going to do? And these are difficult questions. Our answer is Constitutional Convention. That is where a lot of our nations are right now. We're seeing a lot of nations collapse for various reasons. We're seeing external fighting between each other. And I don't think it's because people are evil. And I don't think it's because, people cannot be reasoned with in the general. right? If you were to sit down with any given one individual, for the most part, with the exception of the rare point at which someone is violent in a mental deficiency kind of way where they cannot be reasoned with at all, if you can communicate with a human being, generally speaking, you can come to some sort of agreement or arrangement, or at least agree to disagree in some kind of peace. Yet, we live in a world where team-based professional murder is a thing. And I phrase it that way because that is kind of what it is, especially when you consider that we are all related. Like, we are all one group. We are life, generally, right? I mean, even as a species, go back 3,000 years ish, the math says, and there's great YouTube videos on this. Check out, I believe it's Numberphile, could be others, on the fact that every human being on Earth, you go back far enough, has the exact same grandmas and grandpas, right? Our ancestors are the same people if you go back far enough. You don't have to go all the way back to the beginning either. And the fact that you don't have to go back that far to find out that we are all pretty much related co-equally would imply that really we're just cousins killing cousins. And why is our family killing each other? Or why do they feel the need to kill each other? These are difficult questions. And they have to be resolved because, again, we're stuck with each other. And it's not, I don't think it's anyone's fault in the sense that while people are always responsible for their own actions, the circumstances in which they find themselves are accidents of their birth or circumstances. At some point, we were all children, little tiny babies, and we had no say in where we were born. We had no say in who our parents were, if we had them even. And we had to make do with what life gave us. But that also means that after about 6,000 to 8,000 years of civilization, depending on how you want to count, we are inheriting the baggage of our moms and dads and grandmas and grandpas and aunts and uncles, all the way going back to the beginning of time. And they, our parents, they inherited their parents' stuff, and they inherited their parents' stuff. So it's like every generation seems to somehow be responsible for stuff that wasn't even a thought. And while as you get closer and closer to the current generation, you can say there is more responsibility for some than others. But in the grand scheme of the world, not really, right? You go back 10,000 years, that's all our ancestors. We are all the same people there. 5,000 years, same people. So everything they did, we did. 3,000 years ago, 1,000 BCE, everything that was going on there, that was us. And there's a lot of, you don't even have to go back that far if you let that go. So you have to think about that. The other part is we are in a point of technological upheaval, right? And I'm not just talking about AI, though that is an issue. If you look back at our species' technological development around 5,000 years ago, that's when we started getting agrarian. We were pretty much hunter-gatherer before then. And that's out of 200,000 years of modern humans, so the last 5,000 years. And then you have 500 years ago, 600 years ago, you have the printing press. Then you have 150 years ago, you have, electricity, telephone, radio, television, movies, talking movies, full color. That's like 100 years or less on all those things. globally. You know, you have the train, the plane, the boat. You can get pretty much from anywhere to anywhere and talk from anyone from anyone pretty cheaply and easily for most people on Earth. And that is something that's unprecedented. That is not something our species was affected by ever until now. So this is all really new, and everything's getting really close together as a result, and it's not changing. Just like we are stuck with each other forever on this planet, our technological progress in the aggregate, even with civilization falls, just marches forward. And therefore, I see no reason why we are not going to be on top of each other, even in this accelerated way. And I don't see that acceleration stopping right now. If you look at technological progress in the last 20 or something years, it appears linear. But if you look at it in the zoom out, it's whoop, right up. So that's something we're going to have to deal with. And there are some threats that have not arrived yet, but have happened in history before. And really, we're going to have to deal with that. I hate to say this, but it seems like World War III is viable in this century. There's 77 years, 76 years to go before the end of this century. And it's not looking good right now. Our climate, we just had the most powerful hurricane to ever hit Mexico occur at the end of October, and it went from a tropical storm to a Category 5 in like an hour. Like, extreme stuff is happening all over this planet, and whether or not we can stop anything or mitigate anything doesn't change the fact that that solution requires a global answer and a universal answer that we can consensually and peacefully arrive at. And we're not there right now. So hence this party needs to exist, because we need to start thinking about not of each other as, members of a country or a state or even a family group, but a planet. And World War III and climate collapse are really important. Economic collapse. Our global economy is integrated, whether we like it or not. And even if we realign trading partners and try to do this, going back to that first thing, we're still going to be integrated. We're never going to be able to successfully separate. We have different things in different places, and people want those things. And that means you're going to have to cross international borders. You just have to. We have instability due to this pressure and more, I'm sure, and the growing pains of being a growing planet and a growing species. We have a viable chance of civil wars in countries that you wouldn't have thought it. But if we look at history, 1700s, lots of revolutions then. 1800s, still more. 1900s, World War I and II. The rise and fall of the Soviet Union. There's been a lot of upheaval, and that will continue, especially as resources become more strained. We are spending 2.2 just on the military, and I'm not talking about the United States, which is the largest spender. I'm talking about the world. $2.2 trillion annually, just trying to kill each other or keep each other from killing each other. And that is nuts. $2.2 trillion. And there's going to be people who have all kinds of different reasons for why that should be. And we're going to go into those arguments, but we're going to have to deal with it. And internally, even in democracies, a lot of democracies, but some more than others, we do not actually live the value of democracy to its maximum extent. For example, in the United States, they have a concept called first past the post. And you can show how you can lock out huge sections of your population using first past the post and other electioneering tools to not actually have a consensual government, right? But we're going to get into more of that as we go forward. We do have some solutions. We have a Constitutional Convention, like I said. If you go to our website, cosmopolitanparty.org, you'll find what's called a fair constitution. That is currently in its final state as it was submitted for a contest, actually. So hopefully we can get a nice little cash flow if we win. But it is a constitution of consent. It is designed to look at the basic structure of what a constitution must contain in order for it to be a constitution. Now, when you think of a constitution, what are you imagining? When you're thinking of a constitution, a lot of people, especially in the United States, they're thinking that document. But a constitution really isn't a document at all, because the United Kingdom, they have a constitution, but you couldn't find it if you tried. It is an idea, right? It is a social contract. And your social contract, if it is going to be between two people, needs to handle two people. And if it's between 1 million people, it needs to be designed to handle 1 million people. This constitution, a fair constitution, is designed to handle n number of people. It's very scalable, and I'll be putting out videos more on this later on each parts. But suffice to say, we believe that if implemented, it would actually increase representation for all people in all governments, because it's applicable not only to nations, but to states, towns, the globe itself. It's designed to scale and interlock so that cooperation is encouraged. And compromise is not a dirty word. Being willing to work together is good. So we will go into more of that. Let's see, what else do I have here on my list? Yeah, no, I think we are good. I don't have any additional information. If you are interested in becoming a Cosmopolitan Party member, or if you're interested in volunteering or donating, please go to our link tree. It is linktr.ee/Cosmopolitan Party, or go to cosmopolitanparty.org. And there you will find a lot of information. Please pardon the website. It is still under heavy construction. I tried to use ChatGPT to help me write some extra side articles in order to sort of elaborate on some statements to get this live. If you are a web designer, web engineer, IT person, if you are accountant, legal expert, marketing, if you have experience in political organizations or campaigns, or if you're just interested in trying to help the world. If you're like, yeah, let's do this. Let's actually try and do the impossible. Then go sign on up. There's a volunteer form on that link tree. And yeah. So I appreciate all your time here. It is 8:55. I have no additional information other than to say I will be back on here tomorrow, and I'm going to start going through the parts of the Constitution in questions to the chair time. So again, thank you for your time. I'm going to go ahead and call this meeting at 8:55 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, or 12:55 a.m. On the 26th of October 2023. Thank you so much, and have a good day.